All right. Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on to speak with me today. I wish Tawny could be here, but that's fine. We'll just have her on with us next time.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, would you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone who you are.
I'm Olivia, and I am a FND warrior.
An FND warrior. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Do you mind explaining to everyone, in case everyone does not know what FND is? Do you mind explaining?
FND is short for Functional Neurological Disorder.
Functional neurological. So what does that entail?
It's a medical condition that affects the function of the nervous system. So the way it was explained to me was by the doctors when I was in hospital was it's more of a software problem more than a hardware problem.
Meaning, what does that mean?
Basically, and how the body and the brain send and receive signals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is this FND? Is this something that I assume that you're born with it? Or
No, I developed it after I got diagnosed with it last year after I had an accident.
what happened?
Well, basically, it was around like November time, and I had my support worker in the house with me, and what basically happened was I bent down to go and turn on the Christmas light above the fireplace, and I whacked my head on the shelf above me.
Oh my goodness.
And then I went out, and I managed to have 2 10-minute long seizures,
Oh my
and
goodness.
they
Has that
wanted
ever
to
happened to
call
you
the
before?
ambulance. Pardon?
Had you ever had seizures before this, or is this the first time?
Well, I also suffer from epilepsy, but that's controlled by my epilepsy drugs.
So is the epilepsy kind of related to the FND, or are they completely just two separate things?
It's a separate thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they called an ambulance. The ambulance came out, and so did our first responder as well. And they wanted to take me into hospital. And I tried to tell them I did not want to go in hospital because I knew exactly what would happen. Because me and hospitals do not mix. I get so stressed. Anyway.
Does being in a hospital?
But no, the decision was taken out my hand. Yeah, it does not do my stress and anxiety any good.
Definitely
It
not. I know
doesn't.
the feeling.
So I ended up going to hospital in the ambulance on my own.
Oh no.
And I had to go through A&E and everything. Then I had to wait in the corridor for my mum to arrive. At this point, I still couldn't speak. At this point.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Because of your seizure.
Yeah.
Do you live on your own, or do you live with anyone?
No, I live with 2 other people.
Were none of them around at the time?
No, they weren't, no.
Okay. So I assume when you got to the hospital, did they run some tests and that's how you found that you had the FND?
It wasn't until, well, they did a brain scan. They didn't really find anything on the brain scan, so I don't know why they even bothered to do it. They moved me 5 times.
Seriously?
To 5 wards, yeah, 5 times.
Or what was the reasoning behind that?
Well, first they moved me to like the acute medical ward so they could keep an eye on me until they could find a proper space for me. And then, yeah, ultimately I got moved 5 times altogether.
So then here's my question. After you got to the hospital, they did the brain scan, they did some other tests. They told you that you have functional neurological disorder. What would be the course of action after diagnosis?
Oh, it's post-traumatic diagnosis. That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Well, they mainly said, well, I had to get physical therapy before I could go home, because I couldn't actually walk.
So it affected you physically?
Yeah, because I was having a seizure literally every 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I had
Were
well
they
over 100.
epileptic seizures? Epileptic seizures?
No, this is what they what they thought were the epileptic ones, but it wasn't until later on that they discovered it's part of the FND.
Uh-huh. So completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated, yes. Yes, I had well over 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you, like, when that is happening, how do you deal with it, or what do you have to do to make it better? Can you do anything to make it better?
I mean, there wasn't a lot I could like do when I was in hospital, because I would make, let's just say I would make the nurses run.
Oh no.
Yeah. They sometimes have to put oxygen on me as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so how else did this diagnosis of the FND affect you other than physically having to learn to walk? Did it affect you in other ways?
Yeah, I did get what is known as dystonia in my right hand.
What is
So, well, basically, it's where your hand gets locked in one position.
Oh.
As I'm right-handed,
Uh-huh.
because my hand was stuck like that, I couldn't actually use my right hand at all. I had to use my left hand.
Hang on, so your hand kind of got stuck in a certain position?
Yeah.
And you couldn't use it at all?
No.
Can you use it now?
Yeah, I can use it now, but that's thanks to physical therapy.
Uh-huh. Okay, interesting. So is it kind of like hemiplegia, like kind of paralysis of that side?
I did suffer from paralysis quite a lot when I was in hospital, and I do still in a way suffer from it after I have a seizure, because sometimes I can walk afterwards and sometimes I can't.
Oh, okay.
So it can vary.
How is your this was like a year ago, you said, right?
Yeah, year ago,
How
yeah.
how have things progressed since then? How is your walking your arm now? How are the seizures?
I can't like walk long distances because I haven't done that in a very long time, and I don't really want to push it, just because I don't want to. I've come so far already. I don't particularly want to go backwards.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you need any type of mobility device? Do you need like a cane or a brace?
No, I'm very lucky in that
That's amazing.
respect.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Cool. And so are the seizures still quite frequent now? Or
I have somewhat more control over them because I saw my neurologist about a month ago now, 2 weeks ago, and he taught me a grounding technique that I can use to basically stop them in the track.
What is a grounding technique?
It's where you have something, like there's two you can use. You either have something in your hand that you basically you feel, and then the other one is where you're sat on a chair or something, and you basically close your eyes and you feel how sturdy the chair is.
And this is what you do when you feel a seizure coming on?
I nearly had one the other day due to the Christmas lights we had downstairs.
Oh no.
Luckily I had one of my feely things that was like a shell, and I did close my eyes, took some deep breaths, felt the shell, and after a couple of minutes it stopped.
That's fascinating. So these grounding techniques, the feeling something in your hand or sitting in a sturdy chair and feeling the surface, like that can help you kind of deflect the seizure and make it stop and not be as bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing and really cool to hear. I had no idea. So then
I mean, I hadn't even heard of FND until they diagnosed me with it.
when he diagnosed you with?
Before I got diagnosed with FND, I hadn't even heard of it.
I had never heard of FND until you mentioned it on our Survivor Sunday Live. I was like, what is that? I knew nothing about it. Do you know since you've been diagnosed, have you met many other people who have it as well?
I'm on some support groups online.
Hang on, you're a bit, the connection is a bit, I don't know, you're going in and out and I can't really hear.
Okay.
There you are. Perfect.
I'm in on some support groups online.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure that like having a community around that is probably very helpful, I would guess.
Yeah.
And in these support, like what have you found to be the most helpful things since you've been diagnosed with FND and like dealing with that? Has it been like talking with other people? Has it been using these grounding techniques, or what has been
I think one of the most helpful things is definitely talking to other people because they've got the same thing, because they can relate.
Right.
You know, when you talk about a certain symptom, they'll be like, oh yeah, I've experienced that too.
What would you say for you is the worst symptom?
Definitely the constant tiredness and the seizures, definitely.
How often are the seizures?
They can vary. Sometimes I can go a couple of weeks without one. Sometimes they can come back in just one big cluster.
Oh, really? And how long will they last? Like a couple minutes, a couple hours, a couple days?
Sometimes I do time them if I feel one coming. They can last a couple minutes, and it does make my because I got my watch.
Yeah.
It does make my heart rate go up.
Do you track like your activity and your heart rate on your watch?
It tracks like your blood oxygen and your heart rate and your blood pressure and whatnot. It does. Right. Yeah.
I have one of those kinds of watches too. I track all of that stuff as well. It's cool to have a record and, just to see how things are going.